we're talking about Judge Neil Gorsuch and probably his most famous decision was Hobby Lobby. Now, he wasn't on the Supreme Court for it, but he was on the 10th Circuit, which kicked it up to the Supreme Court, and he was part of the majority, or actually, I don't know if it was majority or minority, but whatever it was, he ended up on the side of the Supreme Court saying that Hobby Lobby is a corporation. Corporations are persons under the law. A person can have a religion, and the Constitution guarantees that persons can act on their religious beliefs without interference from the government. And therefore, if a corporation decides that it's Catholic and it doesn't want, or fundamentalist Protestant, and doesn't want its female employees to have birth control paid for by the government, then that corporation can challenge the Affordable Care Act, which is what Hobby Lobby was. And and Gorsuch was the guy who pushed that narrative. So he's a big believer in corporate personhood, and which is really troubling. And apparently, a big believer in this is what's so weird about the Hobby Lobby thing. The Hobby Lobby folks, the family, I think it was the Green family, was with an E on the end, that owned Hobby Lobby. They had been providing health insurance, which paid for contraception, to their female employees for years. Never said a word about it. They paid for the insurance that paid for the birth control pills for their female employees. And then Obamacare came along and said health insurance companies have to provide contraception and not consider being female a pre-existing condition. In other words, not charge more for it. So Hobby Lobby had been paying, they've been paying slightly more for their female employees than for their male employees because those female employees had the pre-existing condition of being female. And therefore, there are ongoing expenses associated with being female, like birth control pills, which about a quarter of the people who take birth control pills don't even take them for contraception. They just take them to regulate their periods and things. And they've been paid for this, but as soon as Obamacare came along, it was like, oh my God, we can't go along with this. And they weren't even using Obamacare. It was just, this was part of the regulations of Obamacare, saying that the health insurance companies couldn't discriminate. And they were like, but we want them to be able to discriminate. So, and he also, Judge Gorsuch has said that liberals turn to the courts rather than the legislature to achieve policy goals. He has referred to liberals as being addicted to the courtroom. Right. As in what? Brown versus Board? Roe v. Wade? Well, yeah, obviously. He also wrote a 2000 Law Journal article. This is from Victoria Jones's newsletter. He wrote a 2000 Law Journal article and a 2006 books arguing strongly against assisted suicide laws. And this is one that's, you've got 6 states now where death with dignity is legal, where if a person is dying and they don't want to go through or put their family through an insanely painful and debilitating end, they can end it themselves gently, safely, at home with their family around them, no doc in sight. And I remember the stories, on physician-assisted suicide that I was hearing from people when we, in Oregon when this was being debated. And so often people would call and say, when I got the prescription, I thought, okay, that's it, I'm going to kill myself. And then I decided, I can go one more day because I've got the bottle sitting right next to the bed here. Anytime I want, I can just leave. And what they found, what the experience in Oregon was what they found was that fewer people were committing suicide, and they weren't doing it in messy ways like they had before. Before, people were in a panic. Oh my God, I'm about to lose my functions. I'm about to, I'm close to the point where, whatever the horrible thing may be, and the pain is getting so, and so they just, they take a gun and blow their brains out and make a horrible mess. And everybody feels terrible. And you can't bring your family around you and say, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you, goodbye, everybody, and then blow your brains all over everybody. You can't do that. And so, I mean, these laws are at risk. Obviously, the whole contraception thing, you know, this was Donald Trump doubling down on his promise to say his litmus test was, will you overturn Roe v. Wade? And it was amazing last night to watch all the commentators on various networks trying to basically spin it like, well, you know, he's kind of a centrist guy, and we really don't know, and, you know, where does he stand? Actually, we do know. And he's not a centrist guy. And he is a Scalia, and Scalia was no centrist. Scalia was one of the most right-wing crazies that has been on the Supreme Court, certainly in my lifetime.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 202-808-9925.
And of course, it's just another Scalia. I don't want him. And like I said, John McCain said, hey, we could filibuster for 4 years if Hillary gets elected. Maybe we should do that.